Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jason with RC Off-Road Racing. Been doing a lot of work on my 811 Truggy electric converted, and I want to share that with you. I've got a lot of upgrades, a lot of modifications actually too, and I think it's going to be a real competitive car. I got some pictures I'll insert at different times in this video to show you some of the inserts. Please excuse my voice. Had a tough day yesterday, a good day at the track. Not a great day, but you know, any day at the track's always pretty good. But ended up having 2 flat tires, so you ain't got but one spare. So that was, you know, we might get into that another time. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys all the different upgrades and all the different modifications I've done to my 811 TE Truggy. So here we go. So you can see the difference in size of the internals. So, all right, so let's go over the upgrades. So we got the LFR lead finger bruggy body, which required me to make a modified mount for the front. On the newer Truggy, they can use just the e-buggy front mount, but for this one, having all the parts up front and the radio box at the front and kind of high up, it does have to be elevated a little bit more than the e-buggy top plate would allow. So, all right, we have the SRX8 Truggy center differential. I do have, it's the internals. I do have the spur gear from the original 811. It's a 50 tooth. I think maybe the gearing's a little different. I'm not sure. I really don't think it is, actually, to be honest. So I may go ahead and I may order up the SRX8 center diff spur gear. I've upgraded the rear to the SRX8 diff, but now I'm only using the internals. As you see in that, I have to order a specialized. They make upgrade ring and pinion. It's swivel, so that's the other. I'm still waiting on the ring, but I've got the pinion installed already. Excuse my voice, guys. Kind of seemed to have lost it yesterday at the race. We got the SRX8 rear wing mount, which I had to add a custom bracket there because there was holes in the shock tower, so I couldn't just drill holes there. I need something to mount them to because the mounting system is a little different, but it's on there good. It's definitely a better position, gives you more options, and the biggest thing is it's not in the way of removing the rear diff box to change the diff. Now I did have to, if you noticed the rear of the diff box case, I had to kind of bend it a little bit straighter in some areas, but I ran a sway bar through it. I'm going to eventually do something else, but that used to be where the rear wing would mount. So I don't know if you ever see JTRC's videos where his Serpent, it comes the screws here pull out. Now I've got nuts on the other end of mine when I had it, but it mounts to here as well. But that worked well for when I turned the shock tower. Essentially, I flipped it around so that the shocks could be to the outside. So that next time I order, and I plan to order and get a lead finger bruggy body painted professionally. But this time I can run it before the shocks were in the front and in the way. The sway bar was also up front here. It wasn't in the way of anything for the body, but there's a longer flat piece here that generally has the mounting holes. So what my buddy Donnie Baker, Serpent team driver, has done with his, he just uses one 811 Nitro body mount back here, which comes out to about here. And he hasn't had any issues, so that's what I'm going to do. The other challenges with this body is you do have to cut out for the battery trays. Even though I only run one 4S, I still have the option to run two S's, which at this past race, a local racer, Will MacGyver, who runs X-Ray, he has an X-ray electric Truggy, and it runs a similar layout with the two saddle packs. So he seems to prefer that. Definitely a good driver. So I just really prefer the ease of 1.4S, and I use the LCG, so they fit in there really without any problem. But the body does have to be trimmed. All right, back to the upgrades. All right, we got the SRX8 steering Ackerman in there. I had to flip it around. Let me show you. See, the Ackerman, usually it's flipped the other way, where the I guess the rounded side would be towards the front. However, this buggy does not have room for that there. It's just the design is a little different, so I've turned it around, but it works really well. I definitely have more steering. I also have hot body upgraded tie rods, and that's because they're beefier. Those are the only tie rods I had issue with. I'd broken, not the tie rod itself, but I'd broken the ends. So these also have beefier ends. I probably will get the Serpent ones, the SRX8 ones eventually, but these are working well for now, so that's what I'm going with. All right, guys, so getting back to it, I got SRX8 battery straps, which I had to cut little slits in here to be able to use those. I've also, these are custom done. I bought these, actually were designed for a, it was the front, like foam bumper for a, like a one-road car, but I just took and used them for the side guards, so that the body meets, so it fills out to the body, so no dirt gets on the inside. At least not a lot of dirt anyway. Actually, it works pretty well. All right, I also got new front A-arms on this thing. I considered upgrading to the SRX8 A-arms. In order to do that for the front, I'd also have to get the steering blocks for both sides and, troubleshoot whatever issues I would run into. So I really don't have a problem with the steering. The Ackerman, that's about the only upgrade I have for that. But I don't have any issues with steering. I figured, I don't know, I would maybe do that, but once I start getting new axles and, SRX8 axles and the arms, because I would have to get the axle length to fit for the SRX8 arms. I think they're a little bit different, a couple millimeters. But, that's just a lot of stuff, so I think I'll wait till I just get the new kit rather than upgrading that, because what I have still works pretty well. All right, I also got new front A-arms on this thing. I considered upgrading to the SRX8 A-arms. In order to do that for the front, I'd also have to get the steering blocks for both sides and, troubleshoot whatever issues I would run into. So I really don't have a problem with the steering. The Ackerman, that's about the only upgrade I have for that. But I don't have any issues with steering. I figured, I don't know, I would maybe do that, but once I start getting new axles and, SRX8 axles and the arms, because I would have to get the axle length to fit for the SRX8 arms. I think they're a little bit different, a couple millimeters. But, that's just a lot of stuff, so I think I'll wait till I just get the new kit rather than upgrading that, because what I have still works pretty well. All right, guys, the next upgrade, I upgraded to SRX8 shock pins for the front. I haven't installed them on the rear yet, because it does take a little bit of modification. I did happen to have two ball ends and new rod ends to use for the SRX8, but what I had to do, I had to drill these out to a larger diameter. I do believe it was like 3 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken. But it's these are a larger diameter than the old ones, so you just have to kind of drill it out. You want to take your time to make sure you do a good job so that the hole is good and straight and true. But the reason why I did that is I figured that they were the same, because it's kind of harder to get these parts. You have to order them from Serpent, which is okay, but the shipping's kind of high. I usually get individual parts from eBay, things like that, if I just want to buy one part. And these are bigger than what comes standard. So it's an upgrade. The rear still has the same, but we'll get to that here in a minute. All right, the next thing is we also have Mugen front springs, which they work really well. I really like them the way they feel. However, they are a little bit smaller diameter, so turning this is a little tough. So I probably will find a different spring that fits better. Also need new shock boots. These ones were for the SRX8 and they don't fit this, so I need to buy some new ones. Which these ones are like, I've ran them 1 or 2 races because I did manage to get them to fit on, but they keep coming off, so I will have to source out that part, which I know, like I said, if pretty much any part for this you can still get from Serpent America or DeSoto Racing, I think it's also known as, or they're the distributor. So all right, so that's pretty much all of them, all of the upgrades I've done. I would like to call it an upgrade, but I used fast eddy bearings because they have some particular size bearings. I usually use NSK, but they're hard to get. They don't sell a RC car kit of bearings. Serpent sells them individually. For like, you can buy, say, the rear diff bearings or something, and they're high. They're very high, so I try to avoid that. I did get back a roll of NSK, the standard 816x5, or by 816 by 5, I think, yeah, 816 by 5. I got a roll of 80 of them for $100, which each one of the bearings, you try to buy them individually, they're like $10. So they're very high quality. Anyway, but I have fast eddy bearings in here now. They've held up so far. These differentials, the main bearing that holds the pinion gear is a very substantial size gear. So the brand shouldn't matter so much, as long as, fast eddy ain't the best, but those are the gears I don't want a diff bearing, going out on me, because that can be a pretty expensive replacement when you destroy the teeth of your differentials. I'm gonna go over the electronics I use real quick. If you watch my channel, you already should be pretty much up to date on that, but this is a Tekin first generation T8 2250. I've had no issues with it. I have changed the bearing. If you change the front bearing regularly, the rear bearing will last pretty much the life of the motor, which will be several years. I change it maybe every 2-3 years, the rear bearing, but the front bearings, if you change them every 6 months, pretty much the motor lasts forever. But if you do let it get, if you let your front bearing, which, carries the pinion, pretty much it's like right here, or like, if you let that bearing get bad and you have a failure, that's where you destroy your rotor. And now you're looking at a more expensive repair, where if you replace with a high grade bearing once every 6 months, you're very unlikely to ever have an issue with whatever brand motor you're running, probably. But in there, I have replaced it one time since I've gotten it with the NSK bearing. Alright, I run the 3-wire transponder. They pretty much work everywhere now. They're a little bit cheaper. What is all this stuff here? Anyway, and the Hobbywing XR8 SCT with the upgraded aluminum fan. These ESCs are pretty much bulletproof. So, guys, these electronics, I've used them a long time, so I'm probably just going to continue using these ones. But also inside the receiver box, I have a DAS Micro antenna-less receiver, which you can find on Banggood. You can find them on eBay. I think the price has gone up. I think like $40 a piece now. I don't know. I got two of them one time for just under $50. All right, but on to the biggest upgrade that I've done to date, and that's with I've already kind of went over it a little bit, but swapping the shocks to the rear, which I did that by turning the whole thing. Like, I took off the rear clip, excluding the gearbox. I had to leave the gearbox where it's at, but the way the gearbox was set up, the shocks had, or sorry, not shocks, but this wing tower mount, whatever, it mounted one mount here on either side, and then it mounted to here in between these. Fortunately, I was able to run the sway bar right through there, and it's, the links are a little bit back further than they should be, it'll work till I get something else figured out. But I need to modify this because there's no other diff box that really would, be able to use this. But I need to modify, maybe get a new one also. But I need to modify this one and the new one to where I can make it more easily changeable, because I do like to change out the sway bars for conditions sometimes. That's something I've been doing lately, and it does make a little bit of a difference. But anyway, so now we got the shocks to the rear also. So I had to modify and put screw holes, because these were on here. I literally flipped these. So this arm, like, it's literally just flipped, and then everything, mounts into position. It's like the shock flipping everything made the shock mount be on the rear, on the A arms, and the sway bar mount be in the front. So I was able, and being that this is the way it was, I was able to modify it to where it's going to work. Now, like I said, I am going to figure out something. Maybe I'll probably just have to like drill, maybe with the Dremel, put little slits in there so that it's just easier to replace. But other than that, everything is good to go, guys. I can run 2 batteries in this still, because all the ones that I have that run the 2 batteries, I have all the connections for it. Like, I do have this on here, but I have a splitter for it if I decide to run 2. But how difficult they are to charge up. When you're running multiple classes, you ain't got a couple chargers. Outlets are kind of at a premium at most races, especially this year. It seems like the scene has gotten a lot, I was talking a lot bigger. We had 29 novice drivers at yesterday's race, which is just incredible. It's something I'd never seen before. So I'm got a lot of excitement about the future for this hobby. But all right, guys, that's my SRX811, is what we've dubbed it. Let's see how I got the mounts now. I use the pins that kind of have the rear kind of slants up, so I put those in first, and I'll put the front down. I did just put Velcro on here, and I actually use the brand Velcro, which is usually pretty good, but to stick it to this foam, I had to super glue it to the foam so that it would stay there, because it would come off. But all right, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm getting close to that 1,000 mark of subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of you guys that have been watching my channel, and I appreciate you guys. So thanks a lot. If you have any comments, questions, anything you want to talk about, leave it in the comments. My name is Jason. Thank you, guys.